Live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125, this is Joy News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. In our headlines, all is set for the opposition NDC's presidential and parliamentary primaries to come off as scheduled as they secure an agreement with the EC to supervise the exercise after the initial threat to pull out. Now, pathologists warn babies in galamsey areas are being born with one eye without genitalia as experts decry the deplorable effect of illegal mining. Also in this bulletin, China and the Paris Club agreed to provide debt assurances required to aid Ghana's request for a balance of payment support from the International Monetary Fund. Now, children born in areas prone to illegal mining suffer cognitive impairment and other deformities due to high use of heavy metals in gold extraction by galamsey operators. The children also suffer from kidney and hypertensive-related conditions. That is the observation of a consultant pathologist at the Komfo Teaching Hospital, Professor Paul Poku Sampeneo, saying, according to Professor Say, some children are born with only one eye and without genitals.
So these babies are being born with, what, 6 fingers?
It's even the least of the problem. If 6 fingers we call polydactyl, it's the least of the problem. The problem that we are encountering is you get a baby being born with maybe the legs formed around the chest or maybe around the stomach. You see somebody's leg formed around the
legs formed around the neck.
The neck, oh yes.
Legs around the neck.
Exactly. In fact, these ones we have not experienced some here in Ghana yet.
Okay.
But you've seen in Ghana people being born with all manner of deformities. One eye, you understand? No genitals. I have some in my office. Not in my office as in displaying, but not for the fun of it. I use it as a means to teach, to let people understand that this thing that we are first reading from textbooks or getting them in the textbooks, now they are with us here. They are with us right here.
How common is it? These deformities.
You see,
only in the galamsey areas.
Well,
so first how common it is and where they can really be found.
It is, in fact, it's quite, now it's not very common because here in Ghana, I always have a problem with our system. When a baby is born and you have those things, what we do is that among we are all guilty about that, doctors, nurses, whoever, we are all guilty. Anytime such a baby is born, and most of the time, they are born, we call them stillbirth. Most of them die within the uterus. Mm-hmm. So because of the way they've been probably poisoned, they've been intoxicated with some of these things. Some of them die. Even some of them will die with their mothers.
Meanwhile, Attorney General Godfrey Adame says offences like galamsey should not be bailable. The Supreme Court has ruled that all offences are bailable, a position the AG disagrees with. According to the Attorney General, some judges also give out lenient bail conditions, hampering government's fight against the menace. He has been speaking to Kojo Yankson.
I think that we clearly require the cooperation of the judiciary. Yes, I have placed on record the fact that the judiciary is doing its best because they have sentenced quite a number of people, especially in the Eastern region. We had over 120 people, as I said, sentenced. I think 187 actually, 187 people sentenced for offences related to illegal mining, out of which 33 were actually sentenced to terms more than 15 years. But there's clearly a need for us to improve the processes of justice delivery. There's a need for greater expedition to the disposal of cases. The practice whereby bail is granted on very lenient terms, clearly unwarranted, because the reality is that immediately the bail is granted, the perpetrators of the offense go back to illegal mining. And in many cases in the Eastern region, most of the accused persons have absconded. And that accounts for the delay, because you cannot have a trial in absentia. The accused persons must be apprehended and brought back and all that. Even if you have a trial in absentia under the processes set out in Article 9 of the Constitution, yes, it is of no moment when the accused persons are at large. Exactly. So the list of cases I have, about 50 cases pending in the Eastern region. I have about, say, 22 of them where accused persons have absconded. And that is really attributable to the grant of bail.
Now, the Attorney General also criticized some judges who he accused of sentencing culprits illegal mining under an old law instead of using the new law, which has stiffer sanctions.
There was an error on the part of some courts whereby instead of imposing sentences under Article 995, the SWAL punishment regime was applied. And for me, that constituted a flagrant violation of the law, was insupportable, and had to be set aside. So I had occasion to instruct the secondary office of the Office of Attorney General to institute proceedings to quash the sentencing imposed in the case Republic versus Zheng Li, 2 Chinese persons and 2 Ghanaians, whereby the persons were sentenced to a fine. And the High Court of Secondary upheld our application, and the people, fortunately, after having been sentenced, had actually taken steps to escape, because they knew that the judge had done the wrong thing. But with the cooperation of national security, we were able to apprehend them. And the Chinese persons were brought back to the court. The Ghanaian persons were also brought back to the court and were sentenced under the new punishment regime set out in Act 995. Right. And the record shows that the Chinese persons were sentenced to a term of 20 years in prison, and they're currently serving the term, whereas the Ghanaian corporates were sentenced to a term of 15 years.
To other stories now, and President Duffuor is counting on next Wednesday, May 17 meeting of the Board of the International Monetary Fund to finalize approval of Ghana's $3 billion bailout request. China and Paris Club today agreed to provide the debt assurances required to aid Ghana's request for a balance of payment support from the IMF. The two groups, in a press statement, asked all private creditors and other official bilateral creditors to commit to Ghana's deal without any further delay. In an interaction with the leadership of the Catholic Bishops' Conference at the Jubilee House, an elated President Duffuor described the development as special, adding the move starts the recovery process for Ghana's economy.
At long last, for our various issues with the IMF, we've today been informed that the last hurdle towards our agreement with the fund has been overcome, which is that the Paris Club met today in Paris at a meeting forming the creditor committee co-chaired by China, and it has okayed and approved the Ghana request of the IMF, and in fact put very strong words behind the approval. So it's fortuitous that that you should be here on such a day. I got the news barely, not even 2 hours, about an hour and a half ago, that this good news, and it means that hopefully next Wednesday the board itself will meet and give final approval to the Ghanaian demand. So the sacrifices that the countries had to make this last year, the difficulties that we're going, it may be that at long last we're going to see the beginning of the recovery. Because with the approval of the IMF, we're then in a strong position then to make other arrangements that will help our economy get back into a strong place.
So that's President Duffuor. Now, in the Paris Club communique, the creditor committee stresses that the Ghanaian authorities are expected to seek from all private creditors and other official bilateral creditors debt treatment on terms at least as favorable as those being considered by the creditor committee, in line with the comparability of treatment principle. Also, a creditor committee for Ghana has been formed by countries with eligible claims to see to the quick implementation of the resolution. The creditor committee is expected to be co-chaired by China and France. Now, Isaac Ofieje is with our research desk, and he joins me. He's with me in studio with more on this development. Isaac, break this deal down for us. We've all been talking about how we need China and the Paris Club. Now they've come to the table. What does it really mean?
So your last statement, you said that China and France are co-chairs. The reason why China was very important was because most of the other creditors agreeing to come to the negotiation table was conditioned on China's participation. Now we have China's consent, and then also we have the Paris Club, so the G20. But we do not know if the Eurobond creditors also have given our consent for us to go ahead with the negotiation or with the debt treatment. But what we know is that we have a number of steps that we are supposed to follow. We are actually somewhere here, external debt restructuring, and after that we'll go to the board for an approval.
Is that the meeting we're expecting to come up?
Yeah, exactly, the executive board approval. We are still, the external debt restructuring is still pending. We need assurance from almost all, but China's participation and Paris Club is very significant and can secure us the executive board approval. But that is not the last piece in the jigsaw.
Okay.
Even if you get the executive board approval, the next step to follow is disbursement of the first tranche. We need the money. So getting the executive board approval is not the final say. So you need, your creditors now to move from assurance to actual, restructuring.
Okay.
So that after that, IMF can say that, oh, you've done actual restructuring, then let's go ahead to disburse the money. The template here has been Zambia. They've got the executive board approval for almost over 4 months, but they do not have, the actual disbursement. So they are waiting for actual restructuring to take place before they can go and withdraw their first tranche, which is about $188 million.
So with that, now these assurances have come. When are we looking at having this particular restructuring done? Because the president is targeting the meeting, which is going to come off next week, Wednesday. When are we doing this restructuring such that the board can...
we can actually get the board approval before we can even start talking about actual restructuring.
Okay.
So once the board says, you can go ahead, now we've given you the green light to now run the ECF program, then Ghana will take steps to meet, the creditors individually. So you meet Eurobond creditors, you meet, China, you meet France, and you discuss the terms. But per the statement that IMF and then the Paris Club issued, they want uniformity so that the terms do not really vary, so that it does not cause some sort of, distort the whole thing where I am giving in about 80%, you are just giving in about 70 or 20%. They want it to be uniform so that if you're all taking burden sharing, just like the finance minister has been saying. But the pitch was already made when they went to the
IMF, World Bank.
Exactly, the spring meeting. They've actually told them that, come on, we have a good plan, come on board, we will pay you back.
What is our current picture of our external debt?
Well, when I was coming to the studio, I checked our data repository is around $31 billion. And we talk about China, we owe them about $2 billion. Paris Club almost also around a little over $2 billion. But the main one is the Eurobond creditors, over $13 billion.
Okay.
They hold the biggest proportion of this $31 billion, dollar debt that we're talking about. So we need everybody to come to the table before we can go ahead to do actual restructuring.
Interesting.
But it's good news, and we are hoping that we get the disbursement very soon.
If I have some dollars in my bank or under my pillow, is it time for me to change?
Well, interestingly, the city has been performing pretty good because if you check the trajectory of the exchange rates, last year around this time, we were all crying because the city can just move from 12 cities to 15 cities. But we are not seeing that same, depreciation. And so it would depend on who is holding the money. So, but what we can say is that the city has been stable. The rate of depreciation is very low compared to what we saw last year. So we can have some confidence in the city.
Okay. All right, then. So that's what it is. That's Kofi Eje. He is with our research desk. There is more coming up next here on the Joy News Prime, especially on our election headquarters. Stay with us. We'll be back. Welcome back from the break. Let's do Joy News editorial now.
This week hasn't been good. 9 children drowned at Fana here in Accra. Their only crime was trying to get an education. In January, another 8 drowned at Wayokopa, also in the name of education. In 4 months, 17 children have died simply because they wanted an education. What I ask is the value of life in this country. On the back of the latest deaths, the state is yet to react to this tragedy. The Ministry of Education has been deafeningly silent. There is no public outrage. You remain quiet and nonchalant as a Ghanaian citizen because your children and relatives are safe. Let the poor deal with their own issues, right? Until you are affected, life goes on. Maybe when the shoe is on your foot, you will think and act differently. That is just how selfish we have become. The Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service know that children cross these water bodies before accessing school. So why are there no life jackets? Why are there no bridges connecting these areas that require them? It is clear that everyone is tired in this country. No one cares. Fight for your survival. That is extremely sad. In 2017, 6 children died at Bremen when a building collapsed on them. The children's sin was, well, you guessed it, the attempt to get educated. Why should children be dying in their quest to learn? Our forebears shed their blood for us to gain independence. Why then are our children still dying while we still do not find ways of saving them? Why is the state failing us? This week, we also reported that thousands of junior high school JHS3 students of the Kpong Katamanso Municipal Assembly cluster of schools at Zenu had deserted their classrooms to study under trees. Curious, right? Well, this was due to the fear of a possible collapse of their weak classroom blocks, which were built and handed over less than a mere 7 years ago. 7 years and the structures are already in a ramshackle state. Where exactly did we go wrong? Up north, a child wept bitterly because she wanted her school to get things as basic as tables and chairs. The children did not cry for sweets or because they had been lashed, but because of the pain of the inequalities they had suffered over the years. She wept for 15,000 children in the Nanumba North District without furniture, and her teacher joined in. Why should the state be doing this to our children? Why?
Ali mbaka salakana ma akpa uniform baka ngai nkakata utaya do to kwa mko tsani na ali tlag ko go utagbate.
I was overwhelmed with emotion when I saw this. We should not be starving our children of basic things like furniture. Is the government not ashamed?
Recently, I saw some TV programming. They were talking about Ghana's school of shame, and I was ashamed.
We know you are ashamed, but can we do more? Merely being ashamed will resolve nothing. It will not give the children furniture. You said you would donate 40,000 pieces of school furniture. We know you have not sent all of them. Mr. Minister, can you do more? Absolutely, so do. Members of Parliament, can we make this an emergency and do more for our children? The corporate world, can you do more to assist these children? Let us together help our little ones who are dying needlessly just in a bid to get educated. Let us reach out to the future of our nation. Let's not turn a blind eye to the glaring pain of our children.
Now, all is set for the presidential and parliamentary primaries of the opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC, to come off as scheduled as the Electoral Commission and the party have reached an agreement for the EC to supervise the exercise on Saturday, May 13. This is coming days after the EC decided to pull out of the exercise due to a court writ that had been filed by Dr. Duffuor seeking to injunct the process over issues with the register the party intended to use for the elections. National Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedun Ketia, explained to Joy News after a meeting with the chairperson of the Electoral Commission that there is now a finality to the matter. He spoke to Joy News reporter Samuel Mbura. Now, let's cross over to Asawase to gauge how the mood there is ahead of the primaries. Love FM's Nana Yaojima is interacting with some constituents there. All right, so Nana, tell us where you are and what the people there are saying ahead of tomorrow's exercise.
Presently, I am at the Asawase constituency, exactly at the Kumase Central Mosque. And as you can see behind me, the number or some posters already coming up here, banners, posters all over. Tomorrow, the election will be held at the Central Mosque, within the Central Mosque, and we are expecting hundreds of over 400 delegates to come in and cast their ballots. A little about what's happening in the Ashanti region. 3 of the 47 constituencies will not be voting tomorrow. The constituencies that are not voting include the Adanse Asukwa constituency and also the Fomena constituency. And according to the party, these 2 constituencies are not voting for strategic reasons. The other one, which is the Menchia South constituency, is not voting because the party executives, that's the regional executives, claim that there are some flaws within the voter register here at the constituency, so they've been exempted. Earlier, they were threatening to proceed to court to get the court to help them also get the constituency to vote. But subsequently, the party executives met the aggrieved delegates within the constituency, and for that matter, they put that on hold. So the delegates say they are now okay, they will hold on with their action and ensure that the election within the region goes on. And after the whole of the election, they believe that the party executives will meet the constituency executives and other parties in the constituency and ensure that all these issues with the voter register is dealt with, and subsequently they will hold the primary for the parliamentary candidates at the Menchia South constituencies. So it is established that 3 out of the 47 constituencies are not voting in the election. In the Asawase constituency, for about 8 years, there's never been a contest here in the constituency. Honorable Muntaka Mubarak has always gone unopposed here in the constituency. But this time, the situation is different. Honorable Muntaka Mubarak is being contested by one Masawood Mubarak. And Masawood Mubarak attempted to contest Honorable Muntaka last 4 years. Unfortunately, he wasn't successful.
My friends from the media fraternity, at the meeting chaired by the former Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Edward Do Ajaho, all stakeholders at the meeting agreed that the party chairman, Johnson Asedun Ketia Honorable, would immediately set up a technical team comprising the technical representatives from the 3 presidential aspirants and the party's election committee to determine how soon the irregularities with the voters' register could be resolved in readiness for the presidential primaries. The technical committee was to subsequently submit a report to parties after this had been determined. Honorable members of the media, as I speak with you now, our technical team is currently at the party headquarters to undertake this activity. However, despite the assurances given to myself and my team by the chairman of the party, the executives of the party, in an act of complete and unacceptable breach of faith, went ahead to convene a press conference announcing that the elections will go ahead tomorrow without having resolved the concerns surrounding the voters' register as decided at the meeting of the Council of Elders. As at this time, the party has begun distributing the ballot papers to the various regions and constituencies without our involvement. My friends from the media fraternity, I wish to iterate my commitment to the party and the grassroots. However, my concerns that the party is not ready to conduct free and fair election is evident for all of us to see. Taking part in such event will be akin to knowingly drinking from a poisoned calabash. After consulting with my support base nationwide, I have been left with no choice but to withdraw from the presidential election, as I cannot contest an election which is blatantly fraught with irregularities, regardless of all my efforts to draw attention to same. I would like to sincerely thank my supporters nationwide for my unwavering faith in Team DKD, who have done a marvelous job over the past 2 years trying to build a party that, when given power, will be able to govern, to rescue this nation from where we are now. I assure you that we will continue to fight the cause of the grassroots for the betterment of the party. And my Ahuta project, which for almost 2 years we've been given to the grassroots, will continue regardless. I love my party, I love Ghana, and will do all that I can to make sure my party and Ghana soar all the time. Ghana would never collapse, it will soar, because it's a country I love. Thank you, my colleagues from the media fraternity, for coming. Good night, and thank you.
Thank you very much. I would make the speech. So that's one of the flag bearer aspirant, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, declaring his withdrawal from the race, citing reasons citing reasons of the fact that his complaints to the party have not been addressed, yet the party has gone ahead to announce that a primaries will be coming off tomorrow. He says he can no longer participate in that particular process, and therefore he is withdrawing from the race. This is still Joy News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. So there you can see on your screen, they're shaking hands with some people who attended his news conference a while ago, where Dr. Kwabena Duffuor has just announced his withdrawal from the NDC presidential primaries because he thinks things have not been put right for him to participate. He says that the party executives have not addressed the issues that they promised to address before going ahead to declare that the primaries will be coming off tomorrow. If you just joined us, the breaking news is that Dr. Kwabena Duffuor has withdrawn from the NDC's presidential race because of certain things he says the executives have failed to address. He brought out some issues, especially with regards to the photo album that he saw some irregularities. He says the party promised to address those, and the fact that his IT team are currently at the party headquarters, but they have not been given the audience needed, and the party, as we speak, is distributing materials needed for the process tomorrow. On that, he says he can no longer be part of the process, but his Ahoto project will continue to benefit the members of the party because he loves the party, he loves Ghana, and he would want the country and the party to soar, and that's why he would keep this party running. So if you just joined us, the news is that Dr. Kwabena Duffuor will not be part of the candidate or aspirant vying to be flag bearers of the NDC in the 2024 elections. He has withdrawn from the process, which is scheduled to come off Saturday, 13 May, which will be taking place all over the country. Remember that at 8 p.m. we have a special election night program covering the NDC's primaries. We'll bring you all that you need to hear, all the analysis that you need to hear, all the people that you need to hear from. They'll be speaking here on the show. Evans Mensah and Winston Amwa will be here with all our data analysts. Let's cross over back to Nanayao, who is still in Asawase.
We are still within the Asawase constituency, a safe seat for the NDC in the Ashanti region, and tomorrow they will be voting at the Kumasi Central Mosque. Already, some of the materials they'll be using for the election have arrived, and they are still setting up the place. Behind me are some backdrops that have been mounted by some of the candidates in the election. This time, Muntaka Mubarak, who is the incumbent member of parliament, is being contested by Masaoud Mubarak, and it's the first time in about 8 years that Muntaka Mubarak is being contested in the primaries. So before we talk about Asawase constituency, let's take the reaction or the views of the people here about the withdrawal of Dr. Kwabena Duffuor from the election. Hak, are you disappointed?
I'm not disappointed. You know, he's a Democrat, and then if he feels that, you know, things are not going well and he's going to pull out, I think it's a good news for the party, you understand, because we all have what our obvious choice. For our side, we already support His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So what he has done, he has given us a leverage, you know, he's going to lessen the difficulty that you are going to encounter should he have been part of this whole process.
What's your reaction? Is your favorite out?
I think it is his choice, because he has realized that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has taken everywhere. But his reasons are quite shocking. Questioning the photo albums, delegates list, which he used to do his campaign. And most of these executives who are supporting him, they were bettered out of this same delegate list. But then it's best for him, because the controversies he's creating, I think it's not good for the party. And I'm sure he has really actualized that what is happening, the heat around the contest, is not going to help the party. So I'm just hoping and praying that he did that in the interest of the party, so that there wouldn't be too much controversy. So for me, I would say kudos to him, but the controversies were just needless.
Is it an obvious win for the former president?
No two ways about that. No two ways about that. Yeah.
Do you think that John Mahama will carry the day tomorrow?
Exactly. You know, whether Dr. Duffuor contests the election or not, it is obvious. President John Dramani Mahama is going to emerge as the flag bearer of the party. So what he has done has no iota of effect as far as the victory or that statement of fact is concerned.
You are a staunch supporter of Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, and you believe that tomorrow he will win the contest once again. What do you think that Muntaka is the obvious candidate?
The reason why we think that he's the obvious candidate is that if you look at the community before he became a member of parliament, at least he has been able to transform the constituency, change a society better than he came to meet it. Look, taking the sector of education, you take health, you take security, what have you. He has been able to perform beyond each and every member of parliament as far as the policy of this country is concerned. There is no single member of parliament who can compete with him in terms of anything. And for that matter, we think he is deserving of what? Of, our, vote to lead us again on the party side, and then again to emerge as a winner in the general election come 2024.
The argument out there is that Honorable Muntaka hasn't done enough to unite the party and also help the party win election in the Ashanti region. What do you think about that?
These are erroneous impressions that our opponent tried to create, in other words, to confuse the few ones amongst the delegates in Aswa's constituency. These are not something that can be backed by facts. You understand? If you look at during our constituency conference, after whatever happened, he called people in just this building where the Christian caucus had their meeting. He came there, he met, both, the other group and, and wherever they came together, he meant every word, cracks as far as what the party is concerned in this constituency. He has done enough. He has shown leadership and he has continued to demonstrate indeed he's a leader with a lot of experience. Reason why we have identified ourselves with him and we are going to rally behind him. And I can tell you what is going to happen here tomorrow is just a confirmation. The election has already been conducted. It's just going to be confirmed, and that is all.
So, for those who are new to the Asawase constituency, as I said earlier, it's a safe seat for the NDC. But in the past few years, the constituency has been divided between Honorable Muntaka Mubarak and also the party chairman of the Asawase constituency, Faisal Dauda. And some of these issues have resulted in some legal battle between these two. And as per my investigation, Honorable Dauda is very instrumental in the camp of Muntaka's contender, who is Masawood Mubarak. I'll be speaking to one of these people who are strongly behind Masawood Mubarak, who will be seeking for him to be elected tomorrow. Harris, so how confident are you that tomorrow your candidate will carry the day?
We are very optimistic because the people have actually been able to, we've given them a lot of comparative analysis to look at, to get to realize that the opportunities the party has granted Honorable Muntaka since 2005, he has not delivered. He's done his bit, but the opportunities he's had, he's supposed to have done better. In a presentation of my brother, he was talking about Honorable Muntaka transforming Asawase constituency. When the constituency moved from Asuka East to Asawase, it was Dr. Jibril who served just 3 months, and then he passed on. So virtually he could not do much. So you, the person who inherited them, it is incumbent on you to move the constituency. So the little you have done, there is no predecessor who did something for them to compare what the person has done to what you have done. So there is no basis for comparison. That is one. Again, he is saying he is the best. Look at people like Honorable Samuel Okujoto-Ablaka, what they are doing in North Tongue. During the lockdown, what was happening? 1 laptop for a student, bicycle for students. When the NAPCO personnel in his constituency, due to the bad governance of Akufo-Addo, look at the support he gave them, matching the youth to opportunities. Has Honorable Muntaka done that in this constituency? All he tells the people that it is not money, it is love. But now you can see the desperation all around. Incumbent who has served for 18 years. Have you seen any poster of the man contesting him? No. Because Honorable Muntaka has realized that he's falling. For 18 years must you do all these things. At least your track record, the results you've placed before the people should speak for you. You don't need to talk much. If a leader will take more hours to explain what he's done to the people, it means he has done virtually nothing. Because when you have done it, the people should see the results. So Honorable Muntaka is actually bidding farewell. We are very optimistic that it's going to happen that way. The desperation is too much. Now he has money. He has made money to take over. Somebody who is saying it's not money, is love. Today, if you cough in a constituency, he's dashing money. Like something. What is happening? Because he has realized he's failing. Each time Honorable Muntaka contests the next prime minister, you say he's going for the last time. He comes again. He's going for the last time. He comes again. Now the youth are tired. We want to take back our constituency into our own. We want somebody who creates opportunity for the youth. Because if any party will win power, it depends on the youth.
So for the investigations that I've conducted on this constituency, it looks like a lot of the youth are swaying to the side of Honorable Masawood Mubarak, and the youth are giving various reasons for this switch to his camp. I know that you've campaigned for Muntaka Mubarak in the previous election, and you were staunch. You used to be a staunch member of his team. I saw you with him a couple of times. Why are all these young people now switching to the camp of the opposite, or of the person who is seeking to unseat Muntaka?
With the greatest of respect to the incumbent member of parliament, he doesn't believe in youth empowerment. He's a leader who indirectly believes in the divide and rule agenda. When you look at him from every 4 years, the people who campaign for them, he recycled them and bring different people. From the likes of Akuta, a lot of them, Hack are just new in the system. And next 4 years, they wouldn't be the people he will work with. I was there last 4 years. And this year, I'm not there. So that is his system. And everybody knows that. This Masaudu guy has not taken a penny. He has never benefited a penny from the government coffers. But see how he's impacting life in the constituency.
All right, thank you very much, Hak. Why have you remained on Muntaka's team? See, if you listen to him clearly, it looks like there is no hope for you, the youth, in Muntaka's camp.
This statement cannot be a fact. The fact does not support, the claim that he has just made. As I speak with you, the youth who have turned away from Hona Muntaka Mbare's camp is a youth who are not being principled, you understand? These are people who are fighting for their selfish interests, you understand? We are standing for the community interest, you get it? For the past, 18 years that he has become a member of parliament, are you not the same people who came and covered, the distribution of the sewing machine that we shared? Look at the way and manner he's transforming, empowering the youth of the community. For these people, they are saying that Hona Muntaka should use that money, should give it them so that they can go and spend and squander the money. Right. And he's saying no to that, you understand? So that's the reason why they have pitched campaigns against him. But let me tell you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we are still within the Aswanzi constituency. Tomorrow we'll bring you a comprehensive coverage of the election that will be happening here at the Aswanzi constituency. Nanaya Ojima reporting.
That's Nanaya from the Asawase constituency. Now, that's how we wrap up the bulletin. But before I take a leave of you for Evans Mensah to come away with our election eve coverage, we've been speaking to the chairman of the party who has been explaining that the EC has agreed to supervise this particular exercise for them.
Nothing is happening. We are on course. We just came to talk to the Electoral Commission. So they are evacuating the materials.
So the Electoral Commission has agreed with you that they will supervise the elections?
Oh yes, because the only reason why they were talking about not supervising the election was the court challenges, which has been cleared, so there is no roadblock. So the election is coming on. That is not our responsibility. They have undertaken under contract to evacuate them and distribute them. That is what they have to discharge on in the contract, and we have paid them.
General,
so that's not our problem. That is not my problem. The problem is with electoral. EC has no complaint to us about anything, so you cannot be representing EC. So your conviction is that the election will come on. It will start 7 a.m. tomorrow in all our centers and close at 4.
So you had the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asedin Ketia, confirming to us that the EC, after a brief meeting with them, is expected to dispatch their materials for tomorrow's elections. Earlier you heard Mr. Francis Javier Sosu also saying that the writ filed by Mr. Asamoah Boateng has been withdrawn, or they have trashed out that issue, and as it stands now, there is no hindrance to tomorrow's election.